Buying houses on Jobkeeper. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian.Heise here and welcome to another episode of HeiseSays. Grab your stein of coffee and let's have a look at this article from the Daily Mail Australia. Because it's just taking this buying houses thing to a new trend. It's just nuts. Mother of four who owns 20 homes reveals 3, always simple ways to buy your first property in a pandemic economy. And even those on Jobkeeper can do it too. If you're on Jobkeeper, you can do it too. What are you worried about? Job security. No, come on. Buy a house. FOMO in quick. Because we're obviously going to get advice from somebody who's been through several pandemic economies. And I'm sure, 37 years old. She probably barely remembers the last recession. Her pearls of wisdom are going to guide us through this, everyone. Guaranteed. And I bet you there'll be a course at the end. What do you think? What do you think? Let me know in the comments while I have a shot of my coffee. Because that's all we ever see on these tabloid rags, isn't it? It's more, get into property, or sell this jar of goop to calls and, $1 million deal. So, let's have a look. A mother of 4 who owns 20 properties reveals 3 ways to buy your first property during the coronavirus pandemic. Not just 1, 3, and they're all simple. And you don't need a job. Or you need a job that's being in a business that's being propped up by the government. That's what Jobkeeper is. Jobkeeper isn't a good sign, everyone. It's a bad sign. It's a sign of government intervention. It's a sign that the business you're working for can't afford to run without government support. Property investment expert Belly Christoph said the pandemic was a perfect opportunity for young Australians to take control of their finances. Take control, everyone. The 37-year-old, who is the director of Reventon Finance and Investments, has suggested rent vesting, joining a property syndicate, or budding up with an investing partner. These are her 3 suggestions. Rent vesting, so paying rent somewhere and investing somewhere else. Joining a property syndicate, and we'll have to look more into that. That just, the more chefs in the fire, the more chefs in the kitchen, the more bigger the fire. Or budding up with an investing partner. See, that investing partner, you know what that used to be back in the day? It used to be the person you married, everyone, because people used to get married and then would come together and settle down and buy a house. That's what property used to be. That's what being a home used to be. It was a stepping stone to adulthood. Not everyone becoming a slumlord and buying one after the other, negative gearing them to the moon, paying interest only, and then looking down on everyone who's just renting. Welcome to Australia, everyone. A classless society, unless you don't own a house, or unless you don't own several houses. Welcome. The Australian dream is no longer about owning one property in an area you might not even like and living in it for the rest of your life, she told realestate.com.au. It's not. And, I mean, we've done videos about her before. A whole lot of it's missing from this story here. Rent vesting, one property owning solution is buying where you can afford and renting where you choose to live. By rent vesting, you can still live the lifestyle you want, while making contributions to your savings through an investment purchase elsewhere, she said. Well, yes, you could do the same thing. You could rent and invest in the stock market. You could rent and invest in beef cattle. You could rent and invest in precious metals. You could rent and invest in crypto. You could rent and invest in property overseas. You could rent and invest in a business. This isn't an innovative idea. This just means you're renting and saving money in another thing. That's one of the simple ways you can do it on Jobkeeper, mind you. The Melbourne-based mum explained rent vesting allows first-time home buyers to gain a foothold on the property ladder without compromising their lifestyle. Well, as a first-time home buyer, if you don't live in the property, you still get all the government perks, all the grants, all the handouts. Maybe you know what you should do? You should rent vest and buy one of those apartments everyone's telling you with all the guaranteed returns that are now falling in value everywhere. Buyers can remain in an area they prefer to live in and not have to sacrifice their key values such as a quick commute. Miss Christophe's second piece of advice was joining a property syndicate. She said syndicates allow potential buyers to get into the property market much sooner than on their own. Yes, but why don't you just buy shares in a real estate investment trust? The 37-year-old explained syndicates pay a dividend for each property and is similar to investing in shares. Does it have the liquidity as a shares? Yeah. Let me know in the comments, guys. I've never even considered a property syndicate myself. I'd rather just go in the stock market because then you can liquidate it usually in an instant. Ms. Christophe used the syndicate strategy herself in the early 2000s to break into the property market as a 16-year-old. She poured into a commercial syndicate with $16,000 and sold her portion 6 years later. The then 22-year-old used the $45,000 she received towards purchasing her first property. Okay, so she got an investment at the right time. Is that going to work now? Would now be the time to go into a commercial property syndicate? We've got a first recession in 28 years. Okay, 16 years. So in the early 2000s. Okay, what was happening to property in the early 2000s? Right after the Olympics. 4 years after that, 2004, she bought in her first place just before the boom. How do you know? See, this is the thing. You've got to be careful when people are saying they're experts. You've got to be quite skeptical of their advice because we haven't had a recession here in many people's living memory. I remember the last recession as a child. I wasn't working during it. How many people in our workforce have never worked in a recession now? How many investment gurus have never invested in a recession? She also advised buddying up with a friend or family member and purchasing a property together. Oh, that's not fraught with potential risk, everyone. A partnership like that? Do you want to mix family and business? What if something goes wrong? What if someone needs to sell? What if you're forced to buy up? What if you're forced to sell because you can't buy out the other party and they pass it on to their children and then five of them want to get a slice of it? Yeah. She explained this was a key way to make a first investment if you don't have enough money for a deposit on your own. I bought properties with other people. There are advantages to being able to buy something you may not have otherwise been able to afford to purchase, which is great, she said. The pandemic has devastated Australia's casual workforce, with the unemployment rate rising to 6.9% in September. Australia's unemployment rate sat at just 5.5% before the pandemic. Today, Billy has 4 homes in her personal name as well as 16 in a trust with her husband. See, this is what's not mentioned, is that her husband is an electrician and she bought most of them with him. It's not mentioned in this article. I wonder why that is. It's the same thing with Lorna Jane. You know, the head of the brand, you know, she's behind this big empire and her husband did a lot of the work. They hired him, but he's the big powerhouse behind it. It's funny telling that to a feminist. Oh, they get angry. They ruin their fantasies. She's currently looking to buy a 21st property through her superannuation. Well, there you go. You know, one of her properties. Cool. I mean, good on her. But we're in a recession now. We're in a recession. Is the syndicate going to grow? Are you going to make that, what? You're going to nearly triple your money in 6 years. Now, when things are going down, when demand for commercial property is probably not going to do as well. You tell me. So what do you think, everyone? At least she didn't say to do it on Jobkeeper. It was obviously added by that title here. At least I hope it was. Did she say Jobkeeper? No, the journalist added it. Who's the journalist? Isabella Stackpool. Okay. So Isabella, I know why you added that, to get, people excited, but still. Could you? Would a bank even allow you to get a mortgage if you're on Jobkeeper? I doubt that. Well, then again, lending restrictions have been changed. Why not? Go for it. Go for broke. So there we have it, everyone. 3 tips to get into property investment. What do you think? Are you going to jump at the opportunity? Seems nuts. It really does. As always, thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you're a fan and want to support the content I create here, there are a few ways you can. You can join us on YouTube or Patreon. You can support us using our affiliate links at Amazon, eBay, Independent Reserve, or Kucoin. You can buy merch from HeiseSays, use Gold Pass from the Perth Mint, or support us via PayPal. Take care, everyone. Have a great day, and I'll see you all in the next episode.